Hey Janine, there's my coconut grinder. It runs for 48 hours nonstop. Here's my coconut milk press. Here's my refurbished oven, which doubles as a dehydrator. So with that, I can make coconut flour. I just use the blender inside to make my coconut flour. And here's all the soup. I've got extra mung bean, which is the protein. This is my Biaya blend, which I was telling you about. It's actually got durian in it. And I made that on September 5th, 2024. So I plan to have a 6-month shelf life with this frozen. And then when I defrost it, it has a 10-day shelf life in the refrigerator. Also had some ground coconut in there. Oh man, this one's frozen shut. I got a lot more soup in there. Yeah, this is my house. It's $340 a month and about $120 a month. And there's my super cool Bible. It's got like all the history. It's got those thin pages. So it's like, if it weren't thin pages, that book would be 4 times the size. Here is my house. One of my key ingredients here is the squash that comes in it. Anywhere between 10 and 30 pesos per kilogram when I get it. So this is about 5 kilograms here. Chicken here is 240 pesos. So I paid 15 times 5, that's 65 pesos for that. So I get about, 4 of those is equal to 1 chicken. And these people are poor here because they don't eat any vegetables and they're fat, sick, and nearly dead. They get double the disposable income and they will be fatter than Americans. And here is my sweet potato. Here's my $200 food processor from AliExpress. And that does about 50 to 100 kilograms an hour. It takes my sweet potato and it just churns it into that. There's more of my soup there. Not my beer, but I have some friends that come by every once in a while, so I got beer for them. Yeah, my house, I don't sit down because my back hurts, so this is my workout, dance floor. This is where I do all my writing and research. That's in case a friend comes by. So, still living a kind of a bachelor lifestyle. This place had way too much furniture, so I just had to stack it. And, it's kind of cool here. You got a bunch of little plants out here. But, since my life was threatened for merely being white, I've had PTSD for a couple months, It's been one thing after another with my mental health, but my family thought I was going to come here and go through this scenario and end up in jail because I was going to, lose my temper. But I made it through it. Here's the other room. I had the couch out here, but I can't ever sit on the couch, so I put it in the other room. And my house is actually set up for me because I'm fully disabled. And I hate bending over into the fridge, so I had this thing built. That's why the fridge is way high up. It was really funny when Annabelle was living here and she had to get up in the freezer. She had to get off the chair to get up in the freezer. So I'm doing really well. I'm saving $3,000 a month here. I'm gonna buy a couple hectares of land and rewild it. When when I did my stop back in New Zealand on the way, I went to this really cool museum in Christchurch. And the Maori of New Zealand had forced to get this thing built, and it was 5 stories. And it told this story that when the British went there, they traded for a while, but eventually they went to them and said, "Hey, who's the chief? We want to buy some land." And they kind of scratched their head. And they said, "What do you mean you can't buy land? Land belongs to the people." And the British said, no, you don't get it. If you don't sell us some land, we're going to fight. And a few of us are going to die, but all of you are going to die. So pick somebody to be the chief, and sell us some land, because otherwise you're going to die. And that's how the Maori lost New Zealand, but they fought back. And, I thought I was going to come here and build some condos, but the problem is the rich own everything. There's not a single public beach here. Can you imagine that? There's 400,000 people in the city I live in. And if they want to go to the beach, there's one little public beach, and you have to walk around this huge concrete wall, with all these oil tanks on the other side. And then you get to it, and then there's people who are squatting there. And you have to walk through like 2 meters. And that one little spot where there's 2 meters where you walk through the squatters, there's a guy with the oil company standing there with a sawed-off shotgun. Who the fuck wants to go to that beach? And the mayor approved that. And the other banana plantation, they shut the road down to that too. So Annabelle, all these beaches she grew up on as a kid, they're all taken over by rich people. And you go to it, it's resort after resort after resort, not making any money. They're so fucking dumb. I looked at a beach to buy for $1 million, and it was earning, I don't know. It was a 60-year payback period. And everything had to be tore out. Some of the worst investments in the world here. And this island is gonna be locked in the Stone Age if they don't get the right type of development. I went up to this other island, Siargao, and it's all being bought up by speculators. And that's where I'm gonna buy the land and build my intentional living community, which is gonna serve as like a university. And people are gonna grow their food, and they're gonna eat a lot more plant-based food, and it's going to have solar panels, gray water, and there's no university on that island, so I'm going to put in a computer lab. And this company that threatened to sue me, I don't know how much of it they're going to pay for, but they're going to put the seed money into my nonprofit. I'm writing all the events down. I'm going to write as well as I can. And I'm going to try to write a screenplay. And I'm going to send this to you and Zach. And if these fuckers kill me, you have to tell my story. I don't mind dying. I don't want to. Okay? I can be a little bit grandiose. But hey, it's grandiose people who change the world. And Gary T. Santiago said, I'm a dictator, I'm ex-military, and if you're a shitty American, I'm gonna shoot you. I'm gonna shoot you. I turned the cheek for 2 months, but I'm sick of it. And Annabelle wouldn't stand with me, so she's not right for me. Not now. She wants a simple life, and I've been entrusted to inherit millions of dollars unless I piss my dad off so much that he doesn't give it to me. And I gotta turn that millions of dollars into a lot more. And I gotta buy up as much land as I can. You see, because I can't buy the lands, but I can buy the lands in nonprofits and corporations and cooperatives. Just gotta have 60% Filipino ownership. And the rice farmers in the center of this island, they're panicking because climate change has changed the weather patterns, and it takes 25,000 liters of water to grow 1 kilogram of rice. Rice is life, is the saying here, but all the Filipinos, just like the Hawaiians, are severely overweight because they're eating too much rice and meat, and the children's teeth is rotten, and that's why I made the soup. And Annabelle's dad is 72, and his ankle's the size of a coconut from gout. He won't even go to the doctor. I took him to the doctor. He got put on 1 dose. He won't go back and get put on a bigger dose. I made him the soup. I made a bread. I made a biaya blend. I've got the cereal recipe ready to go. I got like 12 ingredients that go through these machines. They're easy to dehydrate. They're easy to soup. And I got 100 other ideas. And I'm going to put all this into a think tank. And the movie was going to be called Belle Movie Soup, but without Annabelle, she's not cutting it. So I don't know. It might be like St. Luby soup if that's not too. What's the word? Whatever. If that's not too much. But I gotta be as wise as a serpent and as peaceful as a dove. I got 4 years to take these fuckers down. This company, Abriza, is toxic. They build giant skyscrapers. They don't pay any taxes. They pay their workers next to nothing. Their safety standards are crap. They totally ruin the traffic flows. They have no city planning. Going through these towns to try to drive through them is nuts. And they build so high, so much carbon emissions. They need to be building 6 stories. They need to have solar panels. Now, this guy that said he was going to kill me, I didn't follow his rules. I actually had plans to put solar panels on it. So I might be able to turn this positive into negative, but I don't know. I don't know what that guy's going to do. When I looked him in the eyes, he looked like a freaking sociopath. He had no emotion. He was mean and stoic at the same time. You know, and when he told me he was going to shoot me, all I saw was my brother's teeth blown out. And what upset me so much was that night after night, after I heard him shoot me, my mind again. Instead of turning the cheek, what I wanted to do is I wanted to say to him, like Wyatt Earp, right? You may get me. Your men, they may get me in a rush. But not before I bash your head against the concrete. You know, I would never do that, but that's what PTSD does to you. You just relive the moment over and over and over and over again in your mind. You know, and I went to Shergal, this great place. It's like San Luis Obispo, where I'm from. And I danced all night, but Annabelle couldn't handle it. She couldn't handle me out dancing all night. And if I don't dance all night, I can barely walk the next day without severe pain. So it's just not working out because she just wants me to go to bed at 10 a.m., wake up, have some kids, have a simple life. And hey, I get it. That's where 90%, 95% of the world is. But that's not me. I want to do something great. You know? I'm not going to be Gandhi or Martin Luther King, but like 2% of that, 3% of that. Part of a movement that says enough. Enough with these rich fuckers. Good God. The lady who took my money, the condo owner, she felt really bad, but I looked at her Facebook page and she's got her kids in a magician class and a dance class. And what she's trying to do is, see, she's from Davao and this family's from Tagum, where I'm at. And this family's rich. So she's trying to keep up with all the other rich people. And she bought all these condos and she's bad investment. It was kind of funny because we gave them 250,000 pesos. They only offered 50,000 pesos back. We spent one night in the condo before. I said, you know what? I'm not living in a condo where the HOA member or president is gonna shoot me for breaking a rule. Like, dude, evict me. Right? Give me a written warning. You know? Take me to small claims court. Don't shoot me. How is this island ever going to develop if that's the mentality of an HOA president? And he's following the previous president, Duterte. That's what they tell the drug addicts here. Get out of town, we're going to shoot you. I got 19 years clean and sober. I'm friends with Ashley Judd. I'm not supposed to do that. I'm breaking her anonymity. But Ashley Judd is an ex-alcoholic. And she's a rape victim. And she saw her mom's head blown off. And she's traumatized the same way I was traumatized when I saw my brother's face blown off. And five shots to his chest. And I went to his house. And the bullet holes were in the couch. And the blood was still on the carpet. They disinfected it, but you could just see the blood stain. I messed up. My uncle was supposed to go into to see my brother's body and tell my dad and my sister and my mom if it was okay to see it. But as my uncle walked in there impulsively, I followed him in. I wanted to kiss him. I wanted to hug him. I wanted to say goodbye. And my uncle, a very kind man, very stoic, never seen him cry a day in my life, was sobbing uncontrollably, trying to cover my brother's mouth because his teeth were gone. And I kissed my brother on the forehead. And I went to hug him, but all I could do was grab his shoulder, and it was cold, like concrete. I kissed him. I kissed him goodbye. And I feel bad because if I hadn't walked in that room, my dad and sister, they would have fallen, and like none of us needed to see him. It was too much. And they told us we couldn't sue. The cop claimed my brother pointed the gun at him, but if my brother had been in the United Kingdom, the cop wouldn't even had a gun. And my brother's girlfriend said, "Don't come in, it's just a BB gun. Don't come in, he's drunk, it's just a BB gun. Don't come in." I pushed her out of the way and shot him. 6 shots, 5 to the chest, 1 to the mouth. And this man thinks he could tell me that he's gonna shoot me. I guess there had been an American there before that peed in the elevator, and you got these passport bros that come in and bring hookers in there, and the rich people don't want that. You know, so he's protecting the rich people, but he's protecting the wrong people. These rich people, they take. They have no conscience. And they're put in power by our American corporations. It's the dole. It's these coconut cartel. You know? The Banana Republic is alive and well in the Philippines. And the man that threatened to shoot me is protecting all those people, all those Judases who took their 30 pieces of silver, who let these people live in shanty towns. There's 60 kids in a classroom. These kids aren't educated. They don't know anything, and everywhere I go, they ask me, "How tall are you? Where are you from?" "Oh, you're from the United States? I want to go there." Like half the people I meet here want to go there. You know why? They live in a concrete jungle, and all around them, the rich people own the land, and they grow coconuts, and they grow bananas, and they don't even let them go to the beach unless they all get in a car and go down to the beach and pay the private beach. And they all sit there and they eat together. And the poor people at the poor beach, and the middle class at the middle beach, and the rich people at the really beach, and the uber wealthy, well, they have their own private resorts. And I get invited to them all because I'm white. But I go into the wrong building and I get told I'm going to be shot for being white. And everywhere I go, kids say, "Give me my money." And if you don't give them your money, some of them will say, "Fuck you." Because that's what extreme poverty does to people. Fucking twist them. In 2017, the Muslims rose up here. ISIS rose up here. They feel like their land was stolen. And hey, they're a bit overzealous. They want to make the whole island Muslim again. But you almost have to feel for them that they stood up. In 2018, they kidnapped 17 people in all the Philippines. My dad thought I was going to be kidnapped when I got here. But you're more liable to get kidnapped in Phoenix than you are in the Philippines. So there's some stuff going on here, but mostly it's just American corporations. You know, they say the same thing. "Give me your bananas. 7 pesos or I'm going to shoot you." Everywhere you go, there's guns here, and people aren't allowed to go with guns. It's funny, I thought I was against the right to own a gun, but man, I don't know. Maybe a breeze is going to send somebody right out there to come and shoot me. I heard you can get someone killed in this country for as little as 5,000 pesos. You know, and everywhere I go, there's people who love me a lot here. The matadors, that's butcher. I joke around with them. They teach me Bisaya, and I joke. I say I'm matador sa gulay, right, which means butcher of vegetables. It's a joke because it makes no sense. No one's ever heard it before, but it's my joke. I'm matador sa gulay. I make coconut vegetable soup, and I make plant-based bread, and I make plant-based milk substitute cereal. And I was doing all that to just learn the ropes so that I could build condos and housing for the poor. And I was down there in Davao at the Trade Expo meeting brilliant people from all over the world with their products. You know, and everywhere I go, there I am, 6'4" guy. 6'4", I might as well be Shaquille O'Neal. And I got a pretty wife that looks like Jennifer Lopez, and they ask us for a picture with their product. It's like, I'm just this average dude back in Texas, but here, there's like maybe 5 guys like me in this town of 400,000. Davao, there's 20. When I go up to Shergal, there's 2, 3, 4,000. So that's probably where I'm going to move to once this case is over. But for now, I got to go right back into the Lion's Den. Because Annabelle and her family, their lives are at risk, and they're in Tagum, an hour north of Davao. I got to go back into the Lion's Den. And I got to go to Inspiria, which is a condo right next to Briza, which is 1/4 the price. Let them know I'm right here. I'm gonna sue you. Not too much, just enough. We're gonna make a think tank, and we're gonna show you how to build condos the right way. You're building them for the rich, but then you're gonna build them for the middle class, and eventually you're gonna build them for the poor, and you're gonna build them sustainably, and you're gonna build them affordably, and you're gonna space them out right, and you pay enough taxes that profitable infrastructure gets built to them. Because this island chain, if we don't solve climate change, could be as high as 4 to 6 degrees Celsius by 2022 or 2200. And that seems like a long way away, but it's 2024. If I have a kid today, he might live 100 years. He'd be dead at 21, 25. And if that kid has a kid and that lasts 100 years, that's 22, 25. That's my grandkid going to be alive in this country with it 4 to 6 degrees Celsius hotter. Are people even going to be able to go outside? I came here, I was making some vegetable soup so they eat less meat. They don't let them drive EVs here. They should all be driving EVs. But the grid is just kaput. And they should be doing solar plus batteries. But the culture here, they spend it all on meat. Because the American food companies say protein, protein, protein. Get on your keto, get on your carnivore, get on your Atkins diet. It's protein. You know? And these food companies, they own the medical companies too. And more than 85% of our healthcare costs are because we eat a Western diet that's shit. And 70 years ago, people out here in Tagum, they were eating gulai. They were eating vegetables, and meat was for flavor because meat was expensive. But now the ships come here with the feeds, these little pellets. They're corn and soy. There's 120 million Filipinos. By 2050, there's going to be 150. And they're food insecure because they're eating meat and rice. And all that meat and rice, it's all corn and soy coming from U.S. and the Amazon. You know, I don't know how much it is. Iowa, Kansas. How many states don't have trees because Filipinos have been tricked into thinking meat is what they need to eat. You're supposed to feast once or twice a month, maybe a couple times a year, but they're feasting every day. And they're getting fat, sick, and nearly dead because they love America. And there's good things about America, man. The people we've put here in the Philippines, they are sociopaths. They're a different brand. They think they're a cut above. And I don't like it. I know what they're doing and I don't like it. So I'm not coming home. I'm ready to die if I have to. I've written 58 articles. I've been retweeted by Elon Musk and Bill McKibben, my idol, the man who wrote the first book that really mattered on climate change. I came here to do all this cool stuff. And I'm going to try to do it all. I'm going to write it all down what I want to do. And if they kill me, let's pray they're that stupid. Because then it becomes a story. And that's how change happens. You don't have change in human history. People aren't willing to get up and say, enough. I don't care. Shoot me. I don't fucking care. Which means I love you so much. I'm sorry for all my mistakes, but in the end, everything you do that good matters. And everything that you do wrong is forgiven. Because God is love. And love forgives. I ask for forgiveness for all those I've harmed. And I forgive everyone else, including this Gary T. Santiago, who said he was going to kill me. And Lynn Leo, who panicked and kept my money. And the board members of Abriza who did nothing. But I challenge you guys. The money that I could get from you, let's put it into a think tank. And let's create something great. And let's start to implement more human rights. We can't do this overnight. I get it. The Philippines is not America. I can't take American values or European values and thrust them on you guys all at once. There's a bazillion things I don't understand about the Philippines. But I was raised Christian. I'm multi-faith. But my Christian faith is what's the core of me. And you got a bazillion interpretations of the Bible. I used to always say I was going to read the whole New Testament. But I just usually read like Matthew, a little bit of Mark. And I must have read Matthew like 10 times when I was like 10 to 12. And this is my interpretation of Matthew. Help the kids. The kids are most important. They bring us joy. They make everything easy and wonderful in life. After that, take care of the sick. Because the sick are almost always poor. Take care of the poor. Take care of the old. Love your neighbor. Turn your cheek. Forgive 7 times, which means on and on and on and on. Because the anger comes back in waves. And you got to forgive again and again and again and again. And I've made mistakes again and again and again. But I've been waiting for people to join me. I feel like I've been fighting for climate change. And I feel like I've just been sitting in a room, in a bed, screaming, let's do something. My dad didn't want to do anything with me. He said, Kurt, we're too small. When I was writing articles about divestment, he took money that I made him and put it in oil stock. And to get that 12% dividend. That 12% dividend came way up from 3, 4, or 5% because millions of environmentalists were putting their bodies on the line and saying, take your money out of oil. And I was writing articles about Tesla. I told them, put some money in Tesla. I told them, put some solar on your roof. He ignored me. He said, it doesn't matter. It's too difficult. We're too small. I was writing articles being read by 63,000 people. And when he told me it didn't matter, I just kind of fucking died inside, man. He wanted to build storage units. God, we need one more storage unit. I know it's good, safe money, Dad. Can we do something that fucking matters? And for 10 years, I got in trouble for throwing away plastic bags and desks that people left behind in our buildings. They left them behind because an IKEA desk, after 5 years, the thing's all broken. And if you move it, it's probably going to break. So what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to throw it away. But I had to move these desks around. And for 5 years, I lived in office buildings while my sister was living in $1 million homes and going around the world. And because I'm a man, I had to have a job. And my sister said, you're not disabled. You should work. So you know what I did? I repaired 3 of my dad's buildings. I went and cleaned his house. He was a level 3 hoarder. I took him back down to level 1. Now he's up to level 4. My sister yelled and screamed at me because I reported him to a social worker. She called my sponsor. She told him all the worst things I said. She likes to yell at me, not let me leave the room. One time she was yelling at me so loud, I didn't know what to fucking do. She wouldn't stop yelling at me. And hey, I yell too. I say lots of things. And this is one of the most fucked up things I ever did. I said, if you don't stop yelling at me, I'm going to pick your dog up and throw it off the deck. Now, was I going to do that? No, but I just needed something because we grew up in an abusive household and we got to one-up each other. And I just needed to let her know, I'm fucking serious. You're going to stop yelling at me and you're going to let me walk out of your house. And that's what she did to me when I went to say goodbye. She said, how dare you report our father? He pays you. I said, he pays me less than what I'm worth. And I was basically kind of like this level of homelessness here. When you're living with a broken back in an office building, man, I would shower. I would microwave hot water and I would shower in a $12 kiddie pool. And my dad's worth like $10 million at this point in time. I couldn't stand to drive the 12 miles back and forth the house to remodel the house. I painted the whole thing. I put tile and stucco. I mean, I had people help. I did everything. This building, he was going to sell it for $75,000. To this day, it's worth $311,000, and it's earning money. So he bought me a house. And then, when he didn't pay me enough to live in the house, I put it on Airbnb. Then I moved into the other building that was 3 times the size. And it took me 4 years to remodel that. And that went from getting $600,000 offers to got $1.1 million. Now that was over 4 years. The market went up. But before, it was a dump. My dad's a level 4 hoarder. My sister's a level 2 hoarder. And a shopaholic. And hey, I'm a fucking asshole. I got a mouth like a pit bull. And I say mean shit. But I'm tired. For 15 years, I've been forced by my sister to work in pain. And as a man, if I want children, I have to earn more money than the woman. And my ex-wife wouldn't have children with me because I didn't make enough money. And she said, I would tell her, hey, if we have a kid, my dad will help. She said, Kurt, your dad's not reliable. So when my dad and sister said I'm bipolar, I'm not bipolar. My heart's fucking broken. My brother's fucking dead. My sister, bless her soul, is beautiful in a million ways. But she didn't have a kid. And I'm the last louder who moved halfway around the world to find a woman who would have a kid with him. And on my way out of the country, my whole family yelled at me, told me not to go, and told me she was a scam artist. And everything was fine until this motherfucker said, I'm going to shoot you. He ruined my life. He ruined Annabelle's life. He detoured my plans to start a plant-based food company to help people. Because everywhere I go, half these kids got rotten teeth. And every fucking man I meet over the age of 50, he's had gout before when he's had too much beer and pig. And the Filipinos dying at 74 while the Japanese is dying at 84. And they're fat, sick, and nearly dead because the food companies have tricked them through marketing and their psychological advertising that meat is the good life. And in their culture now, they say, oh, it's our culture, it's our culture. If you want someone to come over your house, you have to give them meat, otherwise they won't come. It's like their culture is beautiful. Everywhere you go, they feed you. It's one of the beautiful parts of the culture, but it's been corrupted. It's an abomination to eat so much meat. It's destroying the earth, and it's destroying the health, and it's keeping them locked in a cycle of poverty. And that's why I made Bell and Luby soup, because it's cheap, it's healthy, it's sustainable, it's delicious, it's easy to scale, it's a panacea. The only problem is it's got Thai spices, and it's kind of built with shabu shabu, throw everything in the pot. And then the inspiration for it was General Motors created the cabbage soup diet because so many of their employees were getting sick at 40, 50. They said, hey, man, you got to get on this cabbage soup diet. And I had a friend put me on the cabbage soup diet 20 years ago, and I lost a lot of weight doing that thing. But the soup I made is perfect. It's the best soup in the world. And now I can't make it because I can't stop fighting with the woman I came to marry because she won't let me sue them because she says, Kurt, go for your peace of mind. I said, what peace of mind am I going to have in this country? What company am I going to start in this country? What movement am I going to start in this country if I could go to the third nicest condo in Davao, the capital of this island, pay 50,000 pesos, which is like 4 times the minimum wage, and be told by the HOA president that he's a dictator, ex-military, and if I don't listen to what he says, he's going to shoot me. How is this country ever going to develop if that's the mentality people get to have? Because mayors and presidents decide they just going to execute people without due process. I mean, God, the death penalty should be illegal. And everyone loves Duterte here. And hey, man, you know what? He cleaned the city up. There was a lot of crime. There was a lot of drugs. And maybe there was a time where Duterte had to fucking shoot people. But that's got to transition away. Like, we have political scientists who can show us the countries with freedom of speech do better. Countries with rule of law do better. And hey, the Cold War, it screwed up. We went, America went all political rights, and USSR went all economic rights, Make sure, all you people, if any of you ever see this, make sure you read your Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And make sure you learn about Eleanor Roosevelt, who was more important than any U.S. president that ever lived. And we got Kamala Harris coming up who might be president. She ain't going to hold a candle to Eleanor Roosevelt. Maybe I'm bipolar. Maybe I'm grandiose. But I tell you this, I got to take a stand for the Filipino people. I'm going to say, you got to stop telling people you're going to shoot them. Ako e kama, which means I am calm. And everyone tells me whatever I need to do, like number 1 rule in the Philippines, don't mess with the vibe. You see, it's a miserable life, so they got a happy island vibe. And you can't mess with the vibe here. But these rich people need to calm the fuck down, man. It's like they say we can't have a public beach because everyone will litter. It's not hard. You put a cop out there. You don't have to give him a gun. Give him some mace. Give him a flashlight. Give him a badge. Somebody litters. Give them a ticket. If they don't want to pay the ticket, say, hey, no problem, man. I get it. We all litter. We all get stupid sometime. Why don't you come down here on a Saturday for 2 hours, pick up some trash with a bunch of other people, and then we're going to roast some marshmallows, make some s'mores. It's not hard to have a public beach. It's not hard to have freedom of speech. It's not hard to have sidewalks. It's not hard to have sewer. It's not hard to have an electrical grid that can support electric cars. And I have a dream that Abriza is going to make housing for the poor that's sustainable. And that the city of Tagum is going to get self-driving buses that go down to the banana plantation. And they take the kids, and they take the old, and they take the disabled to the beach for free. And that on that public beach, there are the rich and the poor and everyone in between, playing, making friends, deciding how we're going to make the Philippines sustainable, healthy, and a beautiful place so that no child has to go work abroad and send money home to feed their family bad food and then have to stay abroad longer to send money home to pay for the medicine they shouldn't have to take. Annabelle, I'm sorry, sweetie. I'm sorry I had to break up with you. But I gotta change these people's hearts. And I gotta fight them. And I gotta risk intimidation. I gotta risk getting locked up. I gotta risk them saying I'm slandering them. And I even have to risk getting killed because you know what? I'm fucking sick of this shit. I've had enough. Shoot me, people. I don't care. My brother's up there, and he's waiting for me.